There's the way I understand it is, if there is no choice, there is no love, right? If there's no love, there's no choice, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not coming from a loving place, a desiring place, so then you're not really choosing. And if you're not really choosing, you're probably not really acting that anyway. You're doing it because someone told you to. So you don't really cause the change. And even when it's similar to what you said before about how, there's no ego when you work with people to try to bring healing to them. It's knowing that you're just being the space for the healing to come through, so that they can heal themselves essentially. And I think that's true with all teaching, right? A real teacher, the way I understand it, knows that I don't teach you anything new. I try to reveal to you what somewhere deep down you already know, and have that resonate with you. And if it resonates, right, so then it comes through, right?
That chills on that one.
Yeah, I mean, the Talmud says before we come into this world, we're taught all the wisdom, right? We're given everything before
we know everything. It's whether
and then we're born, and then we go through life, and then we get these, like you just had, right? We get these goosebump moments, and we get these aha moments, and we get this, that resonates with me, right? This is, and it's true. No one has to prove it to you. I because I do what I do on Facebook and Instagram and all these social media platforms, there are times where I'll put out a post, which what may sound fantastical to a person who's heavily based in science and logic, and I'll say some spiritual idea which I can't necessarily prove, and I'll get comments to the effect of, if you're gonna say things like that in public, you better be ready to fight for them and prove them. And my feeling is, and I've written this to people online, is I'm not here to prove anything. I'm just here to remind you. That's it.
I love it. That's the perfect response.
That's it. For people, I don't have to prove it. If it resonates, I'm very excited for you. If it doesn't, it's not. You're not. You and it aren't there yet, right? It's not a match, and that's okay.
And they found you for a reason. So they're coming out of their cave. So they found you for a reason, and they'll slowly start listening. And like you said, if it resonates, they'll stay on your channel, and if not, they'll flip stations because they're not there yet. And we're all in this ascension process right now. So people are moving through it really quickly, and a lot of people are fighting it and not liking the feelings and are going through this inner turmoil. But there's this huge energy shift going on in the world right now.
Totally. Massive evolution of consciousness happening right now. Yes. It's awesome. And it's huge, and it's powerful. And there's a metaphor that I saw was written about 150 years ago, and somebody asked, what does this time period that we're kind of living in now, what's that going to look like? And he said, you take a postcard, you go to some city, and you leave your family for business or for some reason, and you see a postcard. You're from Middle America, you end up in Manhattan, a big city, Manhattan, and you see this Manhattan postcard, and you start writing the letter to your loved ones. And as you're writing, that first line, you're like, hey, Judy, how are you? I'm here in Manhattan. And as the letter goes, you see you're running out of space. So you have to start writing a little smaller, right? And then there's more for you to say because you wasted all this time at the top. So then you're like trying to fit in more. And then at the end, you're like, it's tiny. You can barely read it. And like goes to the end, signed, Moshe, whatever, right? And he says, that's kind of how life is that the beginning lines, much less is being filled in every line. And as you get further and further down in history, so much more fills every year, so much more fills every hour, every second, right? And like till the very, very end, the amount of growth and evolution and movement that's taking place, year by year, it would take 50 versions of, this one year to fill that same line. That's what we're going through, and it's only gonna move faster. So it's really, it's an awesome time.
Yeah, it really is, and I think that's why people are having so much inner struggles and turmoil right now and fear, because we are moving really quickly right now, and so people don't know what to do with it, and so they're kind of fighting it. And some people are really embracing it, and going, this is fun, and other people are just like, oh, what's happening, and they're fighting it. But I think it's all good.
It is. It really is all good. I was speaking with somebody I know who works in, he's a social media marketer, and when we were talking about my channel and about certain things that I was putting out, uh, it's funny because he was speaking from a marketing and branding perspective, and I heard it and I was like, that's all of spirituality, like you just said it
Ah,
so beautifully. And he said the most important thing you can do is find your voice, find your frequency. And he said because
uh-huh.
every person has a frequency that they speak at, and the people who are on that frequency will find it, and they're your audience. He's like, and just
Exactly.
don't deviate from your frequency. Like, you are who you are, and like, be that. Don't try to be anybody else. You have your message, you have your voice, and you have your way of saying it. And there are people on the planet who are connected on that frequency, and that's it. And that's all you're doing. And he wasn't speaking from a spiritual perspective. He was speaking from, if you really want to create an audience, you have to do this. And I thought, that's so deep what you just said. If people could realize,
It was
and this
very
is
profound
it
for
was
you.
it was
Perfect.
so profound, it was so
Uh-huh.
real, and it's really has so much to do with what you said before, that a lot of people show up to you and they've got this energy block of not good enough, or
Uh-huh.
whatever. And if people would just step into themselves and say, whatever I am, that's exactly what I'm supposed to be, and that will attract all the right things in my life. I don't have to be anything else that's good, right?
Yeah.
That's the real world.